Hey guys, ECRG here. Today we're talking about flexible work scheduling. Hey guys, ECRG here. Today we're talking flexible work scheduling. And what I mean by that is there's no set schedule of you have to be in the office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or whatever the schedule might be. There's no set time. You can flex it if on one day you want to come in at 10 a.m. and leave at 7 a.m. or if you want to come in a little bit early, get in at 7:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. and leave at 3 p.m., then you're allowed to do that. You're able to do that. And so some places are not allowed to do that. And for some, they have good reasons, but many do not. So some reasons for not having that is morning meetings where they need to be in person. Now, we'll do a whole separate video on the importance of meetings and the over-scheduling of meetings that tend to happen in corporate America. But meetings or something like that, client meetings will also be one reason why if you have early morning client meetings or flexible scheduling won't work. I mean, you can't flex out of that. If you need to be there, you need to be there. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But on normal days where you have nothing like that, where you're not presenting or anything like that, just normal work days and flexible work scheduling is important because let's say you have a doctor's appointment. There's no need for you to be freaking out if you're going to, come in a little bit later to work, an hour later to work because you have a doctor's appointment at 8 a.m. Or the same thing if you have a doctor's appointment, at 4 p.m., so you want to get in a little early at 7 a.m., there's no reason why a company should not allow that. I think companies a lot of times, well, at least in the olden days, things are definitely changing now with millennials getting into positions of managerial positions and, running companies. But back in the olden days, those hours were pretty strict and there was no such thing as flexible hours per se. You would either have to take PTO if you had an appointment or just kind of sneak out the office a little early. But I think there's a whole focus on work-life balance, work-life integration. And, we really need to put work in perspective here because as a society, especially in American society, we tend to, work all the time. Our whole life tend to be based around working and really the rat race of work. You get a job, you buy a house, you have a kid, and you just keep trying to climb the ladder over and over. Every couple of years you get a promotion. Every few years you get a promotion. You just climb the ladder to the top, and the next thing you know, you look back at your life and you're 65, and all you've been doing is just, chasing the ladder, chasing that next promotion, and you feel like your whole life just passed you by. Well, I think a lot of that is changing. People are definitely waking up to it, and flexible work scheduling is something that's important. And the whole basis about the whole rat race thing was people felt like the companies controlled their lives and they couldn't there's not much room for variation there. So with flexible work scheduling, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have other aspects of your life come into play, and you're still able to get your things done with still being able to work hard at your job. So very, very, very important. I think it's very, especially in clinical research, particularly, I think it kind of easy to get away with that because, for one, managers aren't necessarily in the office that you work in or in the same time zone or in the same country. I had a manager that was in a different country for the first 2 years of my clinical research career. And I loved that. I loved having a manager that was not in the office because there was nobody looking over my shoulder, seeing what I was doing. There was nobody checking in on me or, there was no one checking in on me face to face. I mean, she could always message me or email me or call me, but she could never just roll up at my cubicle and see what was going on. So she didn't really know if I was there or not. So, of course, I never abused that, but it helps. It's a sigh of relief off your shoulder knowing that nobody's really watching you. And I think it allows you to operate a little bit better. So, recently changed positions to a in-house CRA. So we'll see. I will have a manager in the same building as me. So we'll see how that is. I'll do a video on that, obviously, what that's like. But my early company that I worked for didn't really have hardcore hours. I mean, they said you need to be there in between certain hours, but it was just so flexible with people working from home and, not having managers in the office. If you needed to have an early morning appointment, you could have had an early morning appointment and it wasn't an issue. So I like that. Obviously, a lot of it depends on your manager, and even there's differences between the buildings that you can work in. If you're working in the headquarters, the culture tends to be a little bit more uptight there because you've got the executive team in the building and people are always on their P's and Q's there. But I mean, you'll notice that if you ever work at some of the other buildings, even in the same city, that it does not have the executive team there, they're going to be a little bit more loose. They're going to be a little bit more relaxed. And, just talking to people that have made moves like that from one office to another, they say it's a world of a difference. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. Comment down below if you notice a difference between working in the headquarters or with the executive team versus another building. So a lot of that has to do with company culture, but I think pretty much anywhere, if you're working with the executives and senior management and things of that nature, there's probably gonna be a different culture at that establishment versus somewhere else. And, that's something that can affect the flexible work schedule too. Just having those different cultures even within the same company. So that's something to think about. I just want to talk about this particularly because I think it matters. But the world is changing at a very, very fast pace. At the time of recording this, and by the time I release it, it could be, the world's probably gonna be a different place because I'm recording this particular video probably a month before you guys will see it. But there's more and more things, just like the flexible work schedule and people working from home, if that is a flexible work schedule essentially, because you don't have to spend that extra time in the morning getting ready, getting to the office. That's more time that you have. Instead, you could go to your doctor's appointment instead, or whatever you need to do in the morning, go to the gym or whatever you need to do. So as the world is evolving, the world is changing, there's definitely going to be a lot more flexible offerings to the workplace. And, I think we had a debate recently on the channel about work from home versus work-life integration. So I think as we move more towards work-life integration, it's gonna be basically just a whole 24-hour revolving flexible work situation. So I think that matters, and we'll see how all that plays out. Hopefully for the better. But that's it for today's video, guys. Just want to talk to you guys a little bit about the flexible work schedule. What do you guys think about it? How are your companies act to, if you showed up a little bit later? I just remember my mom almost damn near crying because she was about to be late for work one day. Maybe she had a meeting or something, but that just doesn't happen now at any of the companies that I've worked for. They're typically a little bit more flexible with that, especially in clinical research. So curious about your guys' opinion on that. What do you guys think about flexible work scheduling? And that's it for today's video, guys. Like this video, share it, subscribe as always. Email us at eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com. And that's it, guys. Take care.